Welcome to Newcomers on Fire, the podcast guiding you to thrive in your new country. I am Miguel, your host. Moving to a new country is tough, and starting over can be even tougher. But it doesn't have to be. With the right mindset and community, we will help you accelerate your journey. In each episode, we talk to people who have been through it, and they shared how they did it, step by step. Remember, success leaves clues, and my goal is to motivate and support you to build the life you want, wherever you are. This podcast is just the start. If you want more, you should check out our community. That is where the real magic happens. If you find value in this episode or have a story to inspire newcomers, I would love to hear from you. You can send us a message or record a short video at story.onfire.show. Sharing your experience can make all the difference from someone who is just starting. In this episode, I talk with Andres, who came to Canada as a refugee and overcame many challenges to build an amazing career and life. Andres shares practical tips on how to settle in a new country, get your credentials recognized, network effectively, and achieve professional success. He highlights the importance of having the right mindset, developing leadership skills, surrounding yourself with positive influences, and finding mentors. Andres also emphasizes the need to fully commit to your goals and work hard to make your dreams come true. We recently did a LinkedIn Live about his framework for being an inspiring leader, and you can find the link on the show notes. It was great. He also wrote the book The American Dream, which I really enjoyed reading it. It felt like I was reading a movie script. And don't forget to download our free companion workbook, which includes a summary of this episode, key highlights, thought-provoking questions, and a space for you to take notes and apply Andres' wisdom and experience. Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome to the Newcomers on Fire show with your host, Miguel Abascal. Listen to people like you sharing their journeys, struggles, and their breakthroughs. Be ready to be inspired to take control of your time, career, finances, and future. Fulfill your potential. Become the person you're meant to be and make your dreams a reality.
Welcome to another episode of Newcomers on Fire. I'm very excited. Today we have Andres here. I'm speechless. Thanks so much for accepting, Andres. And let's start with who is Andres, so everybody knows a little bit more about you.
Hey, Miguel, first and foremost, let me congratulate you for having this podcast. From the bottom of my heart, I want to say you are my hero. This is something that I always wanted to do, and it's possible to get it done. I know it probably took a lot of time from you and get it start from scratch and having such a big audience right now, trying to help people and, as you said, pay it forward. So thanks for doing that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Regarding your question, Miguel, I'm going to give you the long answer and the short answer, okay? The short answer is Andres is a dreamer that gets everything that is on his way and remove it to accomplish my dreams and make them a reality. That's who I am. That's the short answer. The long answer is I grew up in Colombia. When I finished my studies, I was forced to leave the country, so I decided to go to the US. What I tried to stay there for the rest of my life, but for whatever reason, and I can share that in a different in a different episode, I ended up going to Canada 6 months after I landed in the US. And Canada became my home. That's where I started validating my studies, started working for free to gain what people call the Canadian experience and get it back into the job market. So I'm an industrial engineer. I have a master's degree in supply chain management with Penn State University. And then I started working for different companies in different industries until I made it to one of the biggest corporations in the United States and in the entire world. I work for companies in the automotive industry like Chrysler. I work for Baker Hughes, which is a huge oil and gas organization that covers oil field services across the globe. And now I'm with GE Aerospace, right? Before, when I first started working for GE, that was back in 2016. And that's how I got the opportunity to move away from home again. To me, when people ask me, "Where are you from?" I paused for a minute and I said, "Okay, I can answer these multiple ways because I was born in Colombia. Home for me is Canada, but now I'm living in the United States of America in Houston because of work. So when I started working for GE, I had the opportunity to complete a leadership program, an executive leadership program with the organization, and got a good role in oil and gas back then, um, when I was required to relocate to the United States. Um, that's the professional side. From the personal side, happily married to Lindsay Campbell. We have 5 children. Laura is 24, Ian is 18, Ella is 13, Natalie is 6, and now Gabriel is a year and a half. So is busy
Amazing.
is busy at work and is busy at home as well. So that's the long answer for you, Miguel.
I love it so much. So much to unpack, Andres. It's incredible because you're so right. From Colombia to Canada, starting from scratch. In Canada, being an engineer is a regulated profession, and we're going to be talking more about that. That means that pretty much you need to do a lot of things just for people to say like, yes, you got it. You are an engineer. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. You are truly an engineer. And then from there, you start working like crazy, and now you're an executive traveling the world. Because last time we had a conversation, we were in a different country. So yeah, I'm just again blown away of your trajectory. And on top of that, you have 5 beautiful children. It's like wow, I have two, and sometimes I don't know what is my name.
It's crazy, I know, but it's beautiful. It's a blessing, that's for sure.
Oh, I love it. If you can tell us more about your challenges, let's start with you decide to move to a different country, you make it happen, and then did everything go according to plan? Did you experience any kind of challenges? Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I'm sure everybody listening to this show, to the podcast, may relate to this. But when you try to succeed, right? It takes time, it takes effort, it takes hard work, right? And to me, I grew up, and I'm gonna get into my personal side again. A lot of people relate to this, and something that I really believe in is that we as leaders, we have the responsibility, and we must tell our story so people can relate to it, feel
Exactly.
encouraged, feel inspired, and do something about it so they can achieve their dreams as well. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit. I was the very first person that graduated from university in my family. Okay, we didn't start when I was little. No, I'm not saying that, but we didn't have a lot. So I felt a lot of weight on my shoulders when I had the opportunity to go to school and graduating. And to me that was amazing because my family did so much for me to be able to do that, right? So I started working after I graduated, but I didn't feel fulfilled, right? Personally and professionally. And there were certain factors that forced me to leave the country, right? I came to Canada as a refugee, all right? So there are multiple things that unlocked my potential in being able to do what I've done so far, right? To me, success is, when I talk about success, is not a destination, is the entire journey, right? So being able to put that challenge on myself to say you can do better and achieve bigger things was something that helped me get the drive to achieve success, right? So, and again, success is the journey, no, it's not a final destination. But when I talk about success, Miguel, I look at four different elements with that word, right? The first one is leadership, right? And the way I think that helped me a little bit in the way I work and in the way I interact with different people. I like to put structured things. So success. think of four different elements. The first one is leadership, right? Talent, commitment, and hard work, right?
Right.
So when you think about leadership, within leadership, I have two streams that go in there. The first one is how do you develop yourself, right? From to go from step one to step two. And the other one is how can you, and that's something that is unique to you, right? And the other part of leadership is the other people. How do you develop others, right? And again, the reason I'm speaking to you today, the reason why I want people to listen to this discussion is because I want them to feel inspired, right? So that's
Exactly.
the part of leadership. When it comes to talent, there is something specific about that. It's not about how many uh, equations do I know, how many capitals of the world do I know. To me, is the desire to step into something that is uncomfortable and doing it. And that's what helped me a lot. So if people ask me what type of advice would you give me to grow within the organization, is whenever somebody is talking about a project and nobody has discussed who is going to lead the project,
Mm-hmm.
you raise your hand and say, I can do it, and I want to do it, regardless of whether or not you know how to do it, because I know that you will figure it out. Okay. And how do I know that you will figure it out? Because you are listening to this podcast, and that tells me that is something in you that is telling you, hey, I need to prepare myself. I need to feel inspired. I need to do something else for me to be successful or to succeed, right? And when it comes to commitment, you need to show up, right? That's
Right.
go into the arena, be there, don't hide. That's the worst thing you can do. And obviously, you need to care about other people. You need to show compassion and so on and so forth. And hard work is key to me. That's a foundational piece about it, right? There is a quote from Thomas Alva Edison, and I have it on my desktop at work. That's the background image that he says, uh, hard work. Let me retrieve it. The opportunity is missed by most because it's dressed in overalls and
Yes.
it represents hard work, right? It's not easy, right? Waking up at 5 in the morning to connect with people in Asia or in India, right? It's not that easy. Or you work 12 hours shift, quote unquote, and then at 7 o'clock you need to go back on the phone on a Teams call or a Skype call in order to connect with Malaysia because you're working on a project, right? So is being there. That's what I'm talking about. It's not that easy, but it's possible.
I'm blown away because that's one of my questions that I have for you is like how you did it. But these four steps, we're going to unpack them. Uh, this is good. So let's go back to early days in Canada, because I really want to understand your journey, because it's if possible, let's replicate it, right? Like what are the steps that you did? Because it's impressive. It's one of those things. It's like it's almost like winning the lottery in a way. But you did it, and now I see why. But okay, let's go. You come to Canada, everything is new. Of course, expectations might be different from reality. Did you face any challenges with languages, with your validation of your credentials, like networking? Like, yeah, tell me more about that.
100%. I've listened to most of your podcast, and I like especially what you discussed with Gabriela Gutierrez and also Maria. But
Yes.
the one that got me to know your show was the one you did with Sabina Michael. Okay,
Right.
and I'm gonna just use the opportunity to show you a book that I wrote. Right, it's
Yeah.
called the American Dream. It's about my story, all the things that I went through growing up, right? I know most of us relate to the way we grow up regarding, hey, we didn't have a lot. we want to go to school, be successful, work for a good company, and so on and so forth. I tell my story here,
Amazing.
and I talk about Sabina here as well. And when I got to Canada, I didn't speak the language. Okay, um, and
Wow,
to me that
that's
was
even more impressive.
that was crazy
Wow.
because I knew I had to do it. I knew it was
Yeah.
a prerequisite. It was something that needed to happen. I know it was going to happen. The key word to me is how fast can I do it?
Mhm.
So, as I said, I got into Canada as a refugee. I got the opportunity to. That's why I'm in love with Canada. Is to me that's home. People ask me where are you from. People expect because of my accent, the way I look, they expect me to say Colombia or somewhere in South America. Um, but say no, my home is I'm from Toronto. People look at me. Okay, I was born in Colombia. I grew up. I love my country. That's I'm not saying
Right.
otherwise. But when people ask me where are you from, I'm from Toronto. I embrace the culture. I embrace the people. I embrace the system that helped me a lot, and that's wonderful. So when I got to the country, I got the opportunity to, and I was blessed to be in welfare. Right, I'm no shy to say that I didn't take advantage of that. That needs to be clear. So part of what I did was I went to school from 9 to 3 o'clock. There was a full-time program in Christie for people who migrated to Toronto back in early 2000s. They would probably know what I'm talking about. It was an
Mhm.
organization that helped with ESL classes, right? So I was there full time, 9 o'clock to 3. And right at 5, there was another program that I signed up for that it was a part-time program in Costi. That was the name of the organization. And I hope that is still around.
Yep.
And
Yep.
there, so during the day I studied grammar, um, and I study the structure of the language and so on and so forth. And the courses in the afternoon were for pronunciation, right? And how can I become fluent? Long story short, I did that for 6 months intensively, right? Stayed in downtown, finished my full time, went part time to the other classes, and started to pick up the language within 6 months. I wouldn't say I was 100% fluent, but I was able to make myself understood and communicate with other people in 6 months. And I'm very proud to say that. And it is possible to learn the language that fast. It is possible. To put this into perspective, I was almost 24 years old when that happened. And then that's when I started networking to your point, and I know you talk about this in your podcast with other newcomers. Some people sign up for a program called Career Bridge,
Yep.
and I got to Career Bridge through Sabina, who was working for Access Employment, and I know she talks about this in her episode. So if you haven't heard or listened to that podcast, I encourage
She's
everyone to
amazing.
listen to that podcast.
Yeah.
And that got me into the program. They matched me with a mentor, and with that mentor, I ended up working quote unquote for free in his organization because they matched me with a person who had a professional who had the same background that as I had in industrial engineering. So I did an internship there for 3 4 months, and then once I started putting that in my resume, organizations started to see that I'm being employed in Canada. So I got that Canadian experience that was required. And from there, I started to my career took off. Started working for different organizations and be where I am right now, Miguel.
Oh wow. No, that's incredible. And you're so right. Like the story with Sabina is also super good because that program became later on Business Age, and I took that program, and that program changed also my life. So yeah, I can only speak high praises to for Sabina, for that program, for the entire team. And your journey, now that I know a little bit more about it, is like I'm still like in shock because no English, no connections, completely from scratch, and now where you are today. And you wrote a book, which has also here in my notes, that is like I wanted to know more about it. Like, how did that happen? But like, let's before we jump there, it's how did you land your first professional job? Because usually newcomers like myself, you get trapped within. You need
Mhm.
to pay the bills. There is you need to find something just to pay the bills in the meantime, because finding that job might take a little bit of time. And what was your experience, and how did you land that first job?
That's a great question. And the way I would answer that question is I wasn't focused on the money, right? I was looking for an opportunity. And and when I got into the program with Career Bridge, there was multiple things that I could have done that would have paid more to what I was being paid. Or basically, I wasn't being paid anything, just for tickets to go and get within the TTC and move within the
Right.
city. But it was lifting my hand, being humble, right, and being able to provide that value to the organization, right. Um, I know that it wasn't easy for the mentor that I had to spend time with me, right? And guide me, educate me. When I started doing that again, I wasn't 100% fluent in the language, but it's just knowing that I was worth something
Yeah.
and that one person was going to see that worth and use it to benefit the organization that I started working for and obviously benefit myself as well. Right, is networking was a key part. I know LinkedIn wasn't back then, uh, and it was knocking on doors, talking to people. I talk about showing up and not hiding is showing your face, right? we
Right.
we have so much to give as people, as professionals, and we shouldn't be afraid of just just showing up and say I can do it, let's do it, let's get it done. Forget about the title, forget about the money. Let me be part of it, and something will grow after that. It's like putting a seed into a pot, right, and start putting water into it.
Exactly.
It's just gonna flourish.
You're so right. And two things came to mind. The first one is a trap that I always see within newcomers, and I experienced it myself. I was working in survival jobs in construction, and then I started making maybe $20 an hour, and then 30, and then 40, and then it's like, oh, now it's 60 an hour. So it's like, oh wow, this is good money, right? But of course, the risk is higher. I was like doing a lot of things, and I was meeting people that they also had masters in finance and they had all of this, and they will tell me, I will tell them, it's like, hey, why don't you go and work for a bank? It's like, why don't you start from scratch? No, like as a teller. It's like, well, a teller earns like what, $17 an hour. So it's like I cannot pay my bills with $17 an hour. I cannot even start there. So, and they will not hire them to the level that they have because, of course, many variables. But it's like that is a trap that happens so
That's
much
right.
because it sometimes is like, hey, this is what happens, and yeah, you got it. Like
It's,
it's
it's spot on, Miguel. Spot on, spot on. And I mentioned something like that on the book because I remember uh, part of my foundation, Miguel, is I'm a believer, right? I believe in God and in Jesus Christ. And I was in a church event. Um, this this discussion is bringing a lot of memories, Miguel. So bear with me
I
while I
love
go
that.
back and remember my story, and because it moves me, to be honest with you. And we were in an event at church, right? And I was friend with a guy, a very good person. We played soccer together in Toronto, and he introduced me to his dad that went to the event. And the three of us were talking, and my friend went to grab a hot dog, and I stayed with his dad. And he said, "Okay, what are you doing for a living?" And I just, okay, I'm an engineer. Just came uh, from Colombia. I tried to stay in the U.S., but I'm now in Canada, and I'm just trying to learn the language, validate my studies. I was so energetic just to share my story, and I'm going to English classes in the afternoon, in the morning. I got a contact on this program called Career Bridge, and said, wait. He says to me, wait. What you talk? Why are you doing that? I was like, excuse me, yes. Why are you wasting your time doing that? You have to start working and supporting yourself and your family. It was like I was shocked, and he was telling me all this why I shouldn't be doing that, and he got to a point where he says I run my own company. I I have contract with multiple buildings and commercial spaces where I paint and do construction, and I have.
Right.
He said to me, and he was very proud of saying this. I never went to school, but I have lawyers, I have doctors, and I have architects, I have engineers working for me now. And you should be doing something like that because they're making money now. That that was like somebody grab a bat and hit me right in the face. That made me question myself for not for a long time, but for a few minutes. I was speechless. My friend came and we started talking about something else, but I was quiet the rest of the afternoon. And that gave me more motivation to do what I had to do,
I love
right?
that.
And it goes back to the trap that you were talking about. I've done it, Miguel, you've done it. I heard the story from Maria. I heard the story from Gabriela. Sabrina can talk about this, how many people she has impacted. If we've done it, anyone can do it.
Exactly. And
It's,
and that's
as,
exactly the purpose.
it's as simple as that. Is a proven method. Uh, People listening, they may questioning themselves. Yes, you can do it. If you're listening to me, just do it. Yes, you can do it.
Let's talk about that book.
The
What did
book,
that
yeah.
what how did that happen? Because uh can you just tell us a bit about the origin story, how you came with the desire and the will to write it and then publish it and then everything?
Yeah, that's an interesting story because it took me, and I'm being serious. It took me almost 10 years to get it done. Okay, and
Wow.
it's only 100 pages. It's a quick read. So I started writing this when I was working for Chrysler, uh, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to practice my writing skills, my storytelling skills. Right, as remember I wanted to become proficient and be the best I can be with the English language. And still, I'm a long. You probably can see it on my accent and my pronunciation. I still need to learn a lot, but I started writing it. And the second and most important reason why I started to do it was because of my children, right? So I wanted them. The story was for me, right? Just to you may call it a memoir or it's my story. When I part of it is
Right.
when I was growing up. So the first chapter I call it back home and then the US and then Canada. I was telling the whole story, right, in small chapters. And I said, I want my children to know where I'm coming from and what I'm going through or went through in order for us to have a house, in order for them to have education and to have a roof, to have food on the table, and so on and so forth, right? So I started writing it, and then I got promoted, so I stopped writing for a couple of years because I had projects. I was getting to know more people, getting more involved in my professional and career, and then I need to go back and continue the book. So I went back and started reading what I wrote. The first two chapters didn't like that. And then started rewriting it again. Right. So it was on and off for almost 10 years.
Wow.
And yeah, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Again, it takes time, dedication, and so on and so forth. So I started sharing the idea with my wife. So my wife started reading a few pages. She thought it was very interesting. Started writing more. I went back and um, every time I fell down, remember the balloon? When I
Yeah.
was feeling discouraged, I went back and read my own story, and again that got me back up and continued to do it until I finished. Showed it to several people. They really liked it, and they said, "Why don't you have you considered just publishing it and sharing it with more people?" And that resonated with me because to me is giving is the whole thing is giving back. I know Miguel, for you is pay it forward. To me is giving back. How can I help not only my children, which was the intent of the American dream, but how can we help other people? So I got in contact with a few folks, and at the end, I started looking into self-publishing. So I got into Kindle and Amazon, got it approved, read. I got it edited a little bit, and then I got it published. And I've sold quite a few, to be honest with you. But the whole idea of the book is how can I help more people on a passive way. I Something that I need to do, Miguel, and that's probably a challenge for you and I is how can I help more people dynamically, right? How can I help you reach out to more people and make sure that they listen to people's stories, inspire each other, and get the dreams accomplished. Get the dreams accomplished. I think that's what we're here for, and it's our obligation to share our stories. You've done it, Miguel. Different people have done it. When I followed your podcast, I was shocked again. That was something amazing that you have accomplished, and that's how the book came to be. From time to time, I offer advice the same way you do, right? I like to be more involved with newcomers, but I do it most within the organizations that I've worked for before. People
Yeah.
approach me and they have probably opportunities that they don't know what to decide. Should I stay more in my role? I got offered this position. Should I stay in that position? And we start establish that dialogue. What are you looking for? Do you want to lead a team? Do you want to be in finance? Do you want to lead manufacturing services? And we start a good dialogue. And I use the book as a tool to guide people and make sure that they stay focused and make the best decision they can make.
Oh, I love it. No, thank you for sharing because great things take time. It's like our immigration story, our progress, writing a book. Definitely, like everything takes time, and great things take even more time. So I'm happy that you push through, and even after 10 years, you make it happen. So I'm super excited for people to read your book,
Hey,
and yeah, definitely,
if you don't mind, there is the first page that I have on the book, and I want to read this to the people listening. Is just
yeah.
two lines, right? And I'm sure this will resonate with a lot of people. Uh, and I start by saying, great things have been accomplished by people who trust in God and believe that they can accomplish them. Right? Is so powerful. If you believe you can do it, guess what? You are going to do it. The key question is how fast or how soon am I going to do it? That's the question you need to shift from can I do it? To me, that's not the question is how soon can I do it? But you have to believe you can do it first.
Exactly. Like if you believe you can't or you believe you can, in both instances, you're right. Yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes. But you're so right. Like I think believing it is the first step for sure. That's 50% of success. And as you mentioned, is how to accomplish it, how to optimize it, how to accelerate it. Is the job of a coach, of a mentor, of a person that did it. So similar to you, is like, hey, this is how I did it. Here are the steps, or here's the map, or here is the bridge. And then it's like, yeah, just follow through. Like it's the same thing over and over and over. So yeah, this is amazing. Quick question, and maybe let's go a little bit more like let's think about before you came to Canada. You're jumping into that plane. Imagine everything that you know today, and what would you say to your younger self? Like if you could send a tweet, if you can send just a message in time and say like, "Hey, Andres, I know that you're going to Canada. Here's the tweet that you need."
That's a great question, Miguel. I think what I would have what I would tell myself is don't be afraid, right? Don't be afraid and and go for it. Don't think about things twice, right? There is a phrase that my grandma used to tell me in Spanish. I'm trying to see how I can translate that into English. If you head fits through it, then your whole body is gonna fit through it. Something like that, right? So
Yeah,
just jump on it head on and do it. I think when I was younger, I was hesitant to do a few things that I needed to do, and because I was afraid, I didn't do them. Right? Time told me that I should have done them, and eventually I got to do them. Um, I believe that obviously there were occasions where I wasn't that successful, but there were occasions where I was successful on those things that I was afraid of doing. But that's the answer to you and the people listening, Miguel. Is don't be afraid. Just go for it and do it. If it doesn't work out, well, at least you now know that it doesn't work out. Do something else, right? And learn from your mistakes. Don't be afraid and grab the bull by the horns and go for it.
I love it. I love it so much. Now, I kind of similar question, but a little bit different. Imagine that you have the power to have one message that every newcomer can see. And then this message is for people that are, just arrived to the country and things are not going well. Hey, barely affording the bills, like rent's crazy. I'm working maybe 2 shifts just to make ends meet. I'm applying like crazy. Nothing is working. Like it's dark. It's bad. So, and I see your billboard. What is going to say?
He says, "You are not alone, and do not give up."
Love it.
I've never seen the first person who had died of hunger in Canada or anywhere where I've been, right? I know it's tough. I know it's not that easy. It's a challenge. That's why you are there. And that's why a lot of people go back after 2 or 3 months, right? That's a fact. People go back and guess what? They are with so many regrets. Why did I leave Canada? And I saw a lot of people when I was there that I was in that situation. Miguel, I was in that situation. I was in dark places. Last year I was in a dark place, right? And it's not that easy. And something to share with people listening, and I'm here opening my heart to everyone. I went through a divorce when I was when I first moved. I was with my first two kids' mother. It didn't work out. It was hard. It was hard, but do not give up, right? I listened to a powerful speaker. You probably know him, Tony Robbins, and he says there are seasons, right? There is spring, there is summer, there is winter, there is fall, and there is winter. And they don't last forever, right? So you question, but going back to your question, if you're in a dark place, yeah, that is winter right now. But guess what? Winter
Spring is
doesn't
coming.
last forever, right?
Yeah.
Just don't give up. Do everything you can to survive, to keep that balloon up, right? Just keep pumping
Yeah.
it and make sure it's up high. By doing an activity that you like, the app, apply the app, use the app, right? Like a phone, use the app, and keep yourself motivated, right? Surround yourself, and that's a key part, Miguel. That helped me a lot too. Surround yourself with people who are successful because they will rub on you, right? And you will become successful. It's that saying that we have. I know
Yeah.
uh, for most of us who grew up in a Latin American country, and the saying is, "Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres." Right?
Right.
Tell me who are you hanging out with, and I will tell you who you are.
Yep.
If you hang out with people who are up to no good, let's guess what? You're gonna be up to no good. It's
Very
that
soon.
simple.
Yeah.
So surround yourself with people that are positive, that always see the bright side of things, and that will rub onto you, right? And that will keep you motivated. Remember, there are seasons, right? If you're going through winter right now, look forward to summer. Look forward to summer. There will be the sunny days. The rain is gonna stop. It's not gonna be cold anymore,
Yeah.
right? It will be hot and it will be summer.
I love that. And you're so right. It's about also asking for help because sometimes we come from cultures where you cannot be vulnerable, you cannot be weak, you cannot say I'm struggling. And I raise my hand and say that was me too. When I was like, hey, everything's perfect, no, all good, and in the meantime, I don't know if I'm going to pay my rent that month. So and struggling by just by myself. But at the moment that you start asking out and being vulnerable, that becomes your superpower. And everybody, because we know how hard it is, hey, a lot of people are willing to help. So I love your message.
No, I
Don't give
love
up.
what you say, Miguel. Actually, I'm gonna ask you questions so you can keep articulating that message. Asking for help is so important, Miguel, and you are
So true.
spot on. You are spot on. And when we talk about mentors, right, at work, just if you have a question, a challenge, ask for help. Talk to your mentor. I have this challenge, this difficulty. What should I do? Right? You are spot on, Miguel. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that
Super
with
happy.
the audience as well.
Last two questions, very quickly. What are the as a mentor that you are really helping others, and now you're in a position to help so many with all your experience and so on, especially internally in your organizations. What are the three characteristics that you look on a mentee?
Somebody who is coachable. That's the first one. The second one, and you said it, is being vulnerable, right? You want someone who is not the smartest person in the room, and that person needs to acknowledge that, right? That's the second part. And the third one is that that person has the skills or the desire to become a leader, so that person can help other leaders, uh, can help other people become leaders, right? It's like a snowball, right? You as a leader, you need to develop other people so they can become leaders and they can develop more leaders, right? Those are the three things that I would uh, say I look for people to have in order for them to be good mentees and build that relationship with me.
Amazing. And you're so right. Like train the trainer to build the pipeline of the future and to grow. Because the more you grow, guess what? The more you need within your organization to to help you accomplish the bigger goal. So yeah, spot on. Last question. If I ask you, like, let's say that's the first time we met each other, it's like, I know that you're very successful, Andres. What are the three things that I can do to try faster in Canada?
Um, I go back to four my four elements of success, right? Just build your leadership skills, right?
Right?
Just connecting with people, developing people, being able to inspire yourself and inspire others, right? The talent piece, right? I'm not talking about how much you know about books, science, or math. When I talk about talent, it's not that. Is the ability to lift your hand and say, "Hey, how can I help? I don't know how to do it now, but I will figure it out. But I want to help." Right? That's the second one. The third one is commitment. Once you say, "I want to do it," yeah, you are committed to it, right? And make that commitment public, so you
Yeah.
for yourself to get it to completion, right? That's the third piece, and the fourth one is hard work, right? Just show up, be go to the arena, work hard, show up. If you need to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, right? If you say I need to sleep more, you probably need to sleep faster. As Arnold Schwarzenegger says, I don't know if you heard that quote from him. Uh, he says he
Sleep
says,
faster.
yeah, there is no enough time for me to sleep. I need to sleep 8 hours so I can recover well. And then he says, well, If you need to sleep 8 hours, sleep faster so you can recover faster. So that's the hard
Yeah,
work part of it, right?
right.
You need to show up, Miguel. You need to do the best you can do in order to help yourself, help others, and show results. That's what it boils down at the end of the day.
Yeah, that was your formula of success, and definitely it's a formula of success, definitely. And success leaves clues, so that's the way to go. Lastly, is there a thing, a person, a moment in time that you are so grateful for all the success you have today? And if
Wow,
so,
that's a good one. I wasn't
I
expecting
know,
that question. Um, wow. Okay. I Again, I just want to make something clear. To me, success is the journey, right? I don't see
right?
myself as a successful person. I still see myself as a person who I'm still trying to achieve that success. And with that said, to me is I wouldn't boil it down to a person, but a group of people, and that is my family,
Yeah,
right? That's my wife and my children. Um, Sometimes, and everybody go through this ups and downs, right? Like sometimes you wake up in the morning and say, holy man, I need
yeah,
to deal with this person. I'm going through this situation. I don't want to get up, right? But you need to get up. You need to
yeah,
get up. You need to do it. And the way that I get to do that is because I think of my family, right? My wife and my children. If I don't do it, uh, they're gonna be in a position later that I don't want them to be. So I need to do it. And I need to get up and get things done, right? So
exactly.
I don't point my finger at a single person, but a group of people. And in the spirit of progressing career wise, I have a few people that I connected with throughout my career that I consider mentors. And again, going back to your question earlier during the discussion, is finding that mentor that eventually will give you the motivation that you need to continue to go in that journey to be successful, right? So
Yeah,
that's my
makes
answer to
sense.
you.
And of course, it's like all the elements that you went through in order to become what you are today. It's part of the entire process of it. So yeah, thank you, thank you. Anything that we missed or that you like to say as we
No,
wrap up?
there is so much to talk about, Miguel.
Yeah,
I really appreciate. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Um,
thank you.
I I do believe what you're doing is great. So congratulations. I said it before, but I will say it again. You are my hero. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Uh, I want the people who are listening to know and also understand that they are not the first ones are not going to be the last ones going through what they're going through, right?
Exactly.
If you're in Canada, and I know I don't need to say it twice, you are in the best country in the world, so you are blessed. It's a privilege to be in Canada, so you are in the right place. And now you is you, so you are the best person you can be to get things done, right? So don't be afraid of facing the challenge. You are not alone. Just go and get it done because it's possible. Miguel's done it. I've done it. So many people has done it, and you are not gonna be the exception to the rule. You're going to do it.
I love it. Oh, wow. So inspirational. Thank you, Andres. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time, with your wisdom, with sharing so much. I recommend and highly recommend everybody to get your book because, oh boy, that's transformational. And let's talk more about it. Let's talk more in another episode. Let's go more into the details
We
because
have there is so much we can share. Let's see
so
how much
much.
feedback we get from this discussion because we there is so much we can help people with, right? Getting more stories shared. Uh, Something that people are afraid of speaking about money. I don't have money,
Mhm.
but we need to educate ourselves how to have a very good relationship with money. And as newcomers, and you mentioned this on a question, but we get to positions where we cannot pay the bill.
Mhm.
we need to learn how to build a good relationship with money, right?
So
And that could be a
important. Hey,
different topic that we can bring into the podcast and get a chat with people, get some feedback real time, and take it from there. But
I
there is
love
so
that.
much we can do to help people.
I love that, and that's very important because I can tell you, you as a newcomer that you're getting very little. You make one mistake with a credit card, with a line of credit, whatever. Guess what? That mistake can take you 7 years
Oh,
or
wow.
more just to like get fixed. So again,
Right.
that could impact purchase of a car, purchase of house. Oh, you name it. You just opened a huge topic,
I
Andres.
know. I
But
know.
no, definitely, let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, challenge accepted.
Good. Miguel, it's
Awesome.
been a pleasure. Really
It's
appreciate
been a
it.
pleasure. Thank you
Blessings.
so much.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
That wraps up another great conversation full of actionable advice to help you thrive as a newcomer. If you enjoyed this or took away something useful, I have just 3 quick asks. First, spread the word. Post about this on social media or share it directly with somebody that needs this. Next, pay it forward. Take a minute and leave us a review with your biggest takeaway. You can also share your experience by sending us a message or recording a short video at story.onfire.show. And finally, come and join our community. Connect with fellow newcomers, ask questions, and keep the conversation going at onfire.show. That's all for this episode of Newcomers on Fire. I am Miguel, reminding you that with the right mindset and community, anything is possible. See you next time for more amazing stories and practical tips to help you build the life you want in your new home.
We hope you enjoyed this show and that it helps you to find your way or make your way. If you found value, share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, to your success.